tightly linked. But most people, the average person on the street doesn't want to get a muscle biopsy to look at the mitochondria. But the best way to look at the whole body mitochondrial fitness is really, as you pointed out, the VO2 max. And what VO2 max is it's the maximal oxygen consumption. And the best way to measure this is put someone on a treadmill or a bike. We're essentially measuring the oxygen coming in and the carbon dioxide coming out. And what we do is we increase the intensity or speed of the bike or the treadmill and bring somebody to their absolute maximal capacity. At that point, what we're looking at is essentially the difference between room air, which is 20.93% oxygen, and the oxygen coming out, and the total volume. So if you know the difference between oxygen in and out and the volume, you can get the oxygen that's consumed by that person per minute. And the metric we usually use is we divide that by your kilogram of body weight. And that's your VO2 peak or VO2 max. Essentially, they're pretty much synonymous. And what it's reflecting, as I pointed out earlier, all of that oxygen ultimately ends up at complex 4 of our mitochondria, where essentially the oxygen is consumed and we get water produced at complex 4. And so really, it's your mitochondria that are determining the total oxygen that's being consumed. And that's the best way of really measuring it in somewhat. And what we do find, obviously, athletes, because of mitochondrial biogenesis, have higher VO2s. As we age, even with athletes, and we and others have published many papers on this, unfortunately, even with exercise, and we'll talk about how good it is for you, we still get a slow decline. However, in one of our studies in 2012, the VO2 max of older athletes, those over the age of 65, was higher than sedentary people in their 20s. So, although it does decline because of mitochondrial dysfunction with age and other factors, and heart doesn't pump quite as well, it's probably our best metric. And many other people have noted as well that your VO2 max really does determine function. And so, for example, if your VO2 max is less than 12 milliliters of oxygen per kilogram per minute, many people become institutionalized because you're so functionally impaired that you just can't carry out your daily activities. And those with the higher VO2s tend to have the best health span and even the slightly longer lifespan.
So I